What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. This is FTB King Kyle. Today I'm interviewing a rising star, Rafael Quintero. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you, bro?
I'm good. So today he asked for me to interview him, pretty much. Ask him a couple little questions. So first question: where are you from?
I am from, true story, nobody actually knows this, but I was actually born in Shenandoah County, Virginia. But I grew up, I was basically raised in Belvidere, Illinois, half my whole life, basically. Until I got older, I moved out to the Chicago area. But other than that, yeah, that's where I actually come from.
Where's Belvidere at?
It's right next to, like, Rockford, basically.
Rockford?
Yeah, it's, like, right under the Rockford.
Oh, shit, that shit, pretty much, yeah, that is far as hell, man.
Yeah, it's far from here, it's far from home.
So, you say you went from Virginia. Did you live like any part of your life in Virginia? Like any parts of your life you remember?
No, not really. So I come from an immigrant parent. So my mom crossed the border with me in her stomach, actually, and holding my 10-year-old sister's hand to America. And they ended up in Virginia first, and my dad was already over here. They gave birth to me. I was only there for like 6 months. I was 6 months old. And then my mom came to Belvedere to start a life because my dad didn't work out. And my mom's side of the family was already in Belvedere area. So my mom just bought a ticket from Virginia and came all the way over there, and we've been there since.
Do you still have a relationship with your father or anything of that nature? Or that's your business?
Yeah, no, not really. I don't mind answering questions. I actually like questions like that. No, not really. My dad, I have his number. He'll call me here and there. It's been a minute since I've talked to him. I probably shouldn't reach out and all, but yeah. I mean, there's no hate to my dad and all. I actually appreciate my dad for not, because my dad was in my life, but I appreciate him for not being in my life because I think without him being in my life and being there to be a dad, I feel like I came out the way I came out. And I think it's a good way I came out. And I'm proud of who I am today, and I wouldn't have been that person if he wasn't in my life.
So, 2 questions regarding those things. Did you kind of like not like having a relationship with your father, pretty much, like, because I have a relationship with mine, pretty much. I'm not cool with my dad either, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, me and him, if he needs me, I'm there for him, pretty much.
Yeah.
Is it like a relationship, like, if he needs you, you'll be there for him? Or is it like a fuck him, pretty much, or, you know what I'm saying? Because I know you say you don't have no hate for him.
Yeah.
But say he, like, reach out to you pretty much, like, all right, Ralph, I need a kidney or some shit, even though that's an extreme.
Yeah.
Would you like, yeah, Dad, I'll help you out pretty much. You know
I feel like a kidney is, I feel like it's a little too far, but like,
but you know.
If he did reach out to me, yeah, like I would try to help him. Like, my dad's old. My dad's like in his 60s, so like, I feel like one day I'm gonna get a message saying he died, and that'll probably be something I have to deal with then. But nah, man, I have love for my father. If I don't have hate against him, I forgive him. You know what I'm saying? Everyone. It was his first time being a father, so like I don't blame him, man. I feel like we live in a life where we can't really hold grudges because life moves on, and I'm thankful. God gave me a mom who gave me the love of a dad and a mom should give their kid, and my mom gave me that exact love, and I'm thankful for how everything came out. And yeah, my dad ever reached out, I would help him 100%. You know, I don't have hatred for him and shit, and I want to see him do good in his life. You know, even though he's older than me and shit. But yeah, man, I would help him and shit.
Okay. So the second question I had regarding that situation, so like not having that, I'm not saying it like that, but you know, not having a relationship with your dad, let me reword that pretty much. Did that kind of like, how can I say that? Did that build you like be tougher, or like did you have to like kind of like, you know what I'm saying, go through life like you have to be tougher, or well, you know, you had to learn on your own pretty much, like how to, you know, defend yourself pretty much? Did you really teach yourself how to do it, or was it somebody else, you know what I'm saying, help you out along the way pretty much?
You know what's funny that you say that? I was just watching like an interview. I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, and he has an album called Mr. Raw and the Big Steppers, and he has a song called Father Time, and I was just watching some YouTuber explain the beauty of the song and explain how like it does a lot with men growing up in a world where masculinity, I don't know how to say the word properly. We live in a world where like men have to be tough, or we have to grow up to these rules of how to be a man. A man doesn't cry, a man don't whatever. So I grew up like in a household of immigrants, and all those immigrants were just like my relatives still. So I never had a father figure. My mom never dated until like when I was like 19. So like mom was single half my time.
Yeah.
But my mom she never brought men around me neither. So the men that I had in my life were my uncles, and my uncles would always tell me that like hey, men don't cry. This is also like a little kid, which I always forever say that's the most fucking shit. You shouldn't tell a kid they shouldn't cry because they're fucking kids. Right. I grew up with my uncles being strict as Mexican, from Mexican cultures and being Mexican men, where they were like, hey, men don't cry. If you're a cry, you're a girl. So like, I feel like I didn't realize how bad it affected me until I got older, where I realized like, yeah, man, like that shit kind of fucked me up because like I didn't have that father figure to look up to, and I had like these men telling me like, men don't do that, men don't do this. And I think in reality I grew up doing exactly the opposite of what they wanted me to do. And like my uncles are big like alcoholics and are single, living like kind of like a miserable life. It's sad to say this, but like, and I came out the way I came out, and I feel like if it wasn't for them, I think everything that happens in your life that's shitty, later on you realize like, you know what, I'm thankful that happened because it made me the way I am today. So I did grow up with like tough love from like my uncle's sides and all the men in my life when I was a kid, but I think it also shaped me to become the way I am today, where I'm like, I gotta get it on my own. You know, and growing up without a father, I grew up with a mother who would always tell me like, if you really want something in life, go out and get it. There's no excuses for it. You know, if you really want something, you'll do whatever. So, my mom was a hustler, man. My mom busted her ass for me and sacrificed a lot, you know. So, like, yeah. So I grew up with tough love for my uncles, but a soft side for my mom. And I feel like that's what helped me grow up being, you know, not being afraid to show my fucking emotions, but also be tough as well at the same time.
So, I have more questions about that, but let's kind of like move on to like the wrestling.
I like those questions though. I never get asked shit like that. I always want to get asked like.
So, wrestling pretty much. So, was that kind of like, how did you like kind of gain your love for wrestling pretty much? Was it like you came out the, you know, womb like already loving it? Or did you watch a match or something, somebody took you to a show or something, and you were like, oh, that's something I want to do pretty much, you know what I'm saying?
So since I grew up in a house full of my cousins that were like, all of my uncles, and they all had a shitload of kids that were Mexican, and we kind of have all the kids. I had a cousin who would always say something about like a guy named John Cena. And one day she came to my room because I lived downstairs, and it was me, my cousin. She was older, and my other cousins that were my age. And she was like, look, and she put on like Monday Night Raw on USA. And I just remember seeing, this was John Cena when he had the spinner WWE belt.
What year you think this was?
Dude, I don't even know, man. But he had that camel shorts.
Alright, so this was like around 2006, 7.
Probably, because it was like, I think he had the WWE belt, he had the camel shorts, the black shirt, like he was.
Who was he feuding with?
I think it was Randy Orton at that time.
Randy Orton, alright, 2007, yeah.
Dude, and I was introduced to that, and like right away I fell in love with it. And then like I liked John Cena for a minute, but the moment I saw Jeff Hardy, that's what really made me go like, I love this dude. Like this dude, I don't know, I just got onto him a lot. And someone like Rey Mysterio, I looked at Rey Mysterio because he was Mexican, he was short, and I thought he was a little kid. And I was like, if a little kid can do it, I can do it. You know, so since I was a kid, I just fell in love with it, but I never thought I'd end up doing it. It was just like that one thing in the back of my head that I always was a fan of. Because I feel like a lot of people are fans of wrestling, especially nowadays. But it's that one thing when you don't really consider doing it. You're just like, it'd be cool to do it, but I don't think I'd ever do it. And now we're here.
If you weren't doing wrestling, what do you think you'll be doing? What do you think Rafael would be pretty much? If you didn't have wrestling, what would you think you'll be doing?
So actually, my bad.
No. I was gonna like say like, do you not know what you would be doing, or did you have like a second passion or anything?
Yeah. So actually, the reason how I ended up in the Chicago area was because I used to be a BMX rider. Way before that's why I got like a bike tattoo and stuff, and on my leg and shit I got a bunch of like BMX stuff. But I was a big BMX rider. Like I got to the point where I was pretty like, not I'm gonna say famous crazy, but I had a lot of clout on my Instagram and in my socials. I would constantly post, like it was like a daily thing, man. I was grinding, constantly filming like edits, which edits is like a clip, like a bunch of footage of you together, like a montage. So I would constantly do that. I was getting a lot of views. I was getting reposted on like biggest platforms of BMX, and it was fucking awesome to see that shit. And me and my roommate, who's like one of my best friends, and he's also the reason why I became a wrestler, because it was him who told me to go do it and pursue that. He was about to go to DeKalb for NIU because he had to do 1 year, his last year of college. And he was like, hey man, you want to move in with me so I don't have to find a random ass roommate. And so I ended up moving out with him, and he BMX with me. He was my best friend. And yeah, man, we moved out there for 1 year, and then after that, I was getting closer to like talking like to getting sponsored. So we moved out to the Chicago area, and that's when I got hooked up. I got sponsored and shit, and I would get a bunch of free stuff. I was constantly winning like competitions and like BMX jams, and I was dropping edits and shit. And I was getting with the BMX crew out here called Let's Row Cycles. They're actually just shut. I'm pretty sure they already shut down their shop, but shout out them. And yeah, man. But it got to the point where I moved out here, where I kind of lost the love for this. Where I was kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore, because like when I lived in the Rockford area, that's where, in DeKalb area, Belvedere area, the 815 area basically, all my friends were there, and the moment I moved away from that, my friends weren't there, and that's what made it fun. So like when I was out here, my only friend was Kyler, and he was always my friend, but like the people in the Chicago area, I'll call them the gatekeepers from the Chicago area, because they were kind of assholes. And it's the first time I ever said this shit in an interview, but like they were kind of guys who thought they were hot shit. They were like in their 30s, acting like they were, oh, we're the best BMX riders ever, and they wouldn't talk to you if you were ass at BMXing. Right. So they were kind of like that, and they were like telling you shouldn't film this, you shouldn't film that on Instagram, you can't. And I just didn't have fun anymore. Right. It's that spark, man. I didn't like it, and I generally was like, yeah, I'm so far from home. But this is where I love the sport because it was such a freedom to me. Growing up in I'm not gonna say I grew up in the shittiest neighborhood in Belvedere. I grew up in a place called Little Mexico. It was the ghetto area of Belvedere. I grew up there and shit, and I grew up around like gangs around me and shit, and in poverty, I'd say, you know. So like it was a freedom to me, and the moment I moved away, I realized that like that one thing that made it fun wasn't there anymore. Right. But it was too far, you know, it's too late. So I know I chatted for a minute, but yeah. When I give myself like a 2-week break from BMX, and I was like, maybe I'll fall in love with it again. And truly, I wasn't. I hated it. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And there was one conversation who changed everything. And shout out to Kyler, my roommate. We're not roommates anymore because he moved on his own. I moved on my own. You know, we're still buddies though. That's still my homie. But this was after I posted on social media my retirement from BMX because I had a lot of followers, and I knew a lot of people were going to question like, why is this guy posting wrestling stuff all of a sudden, you know? And it's funny, too, because a lot of people unfollow me because of that. So I basically made a post, and then I was like, yep, it's time to retire. And then I had a conversation with my roommate where he told me, like, I think you should pursue... I always, like, would say, like, I want to take my mom out. I want to buy a house for her. I want to make sure she's, like, taken care of. My roommate asked me one of the hardest questions I've ever been asked, and it was just, how are you going to do that? Right. And I legit was like, well, I know it's not going to be BMXing because I'm a poor man BMXing. Right. And so I was like, my roommate right there and then said, I think you should pursue wrestling because I think you'll become something great in that. And since then, I took it serious, man. Now I'm here. But I don't think I would be doing anything, man. My love for BMXing was gone. I didn't really want to ride anymore. I didn't want to do anything with my life, to be honest. It's kind of sad to say this, but I probably would have gotten depressed, probably like tried killing myself or some shit. But like, this is me being 100% like, like 100% real. Like, I struggled with depression and shit, so like, I feel like at that point I would have probably just ended up killing myself or something. Because I was pretty sad at that moment in my life because I was kind of letting go of a life that I knew for the past 6 years. I didn't want to do it anymore, and if it wasn't for wrestling, yeah, man, I don't know what I would have done. But wrestling made me become very, very very like on my shit. Like I'm constantly going to the gym, working out, training. So it did wake me up a little bit and change who I am.
So I got something to say, not a statement about me. Pretty much same situation, suicide. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think everybody has been in that point. They want to, end their life and shit. Yeah. So pretty much, did wrestling kind of like keep you alive? Pretty much like, damn, one day I'm gonna do that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Did you ever like, damn, I'm not gonna do it because I still didn't accomplish this, didn't accomplish that? Did you ever think about that or anything when you were going through your, your depression stage? So I mean, I have my depression moments here and there, but I also think that's just how life is, man. You'll be happy and then randomly shit goes south. But I feel like I don't know why, but it just awoke. It awoke that motivation I had. Because I've always done sports my whole life, man. That was that moment in my life where I was going to say, fuck it, I'm not doing sports anymore. I'm just going to become a normal person. But wrestling really made me get motivated, to get that spark. And I remember when I started going to training, I was like, oh, I love this. This is so fun. And like, I caught onto it very fast. I trained in December and had my first match in February. So I was 2 months in. I
I just caught onto it very fast, but like that training, I remember the first day I couldn't practice, I watched people do training, I was like, I could do that. I could do that. And right away when I got into it, like, I was scared to come to practice. I knew the moment I came in, it's go time. Like, I wanted to be 100% with this because I knew I want to do something with this and I want to become great. And I also just want to see if I can change my life for the better, man. Like, I didn't go to college, man. I'm a Mexican kid. I come from an immigrant family. We're not supposed to go out and chase these dreams. We're supposed to become like construction. It's gonna sound racist, but like we're supposed to be construction workers and just survive in America.
Right.
My mom came here to give me a better life, and I always feel like I failed her if I didn't do something for her.
Right.
Even if it was like something other than construction, but I want to break that generational curse of like, well, let's just do this. Like we're not evolving, if that makes sense. And I just wanted to do that, and I generally just wanted to change for my life. I want to make sure that the kids that are going to be born into my family, my generation, can go, yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to go chase my dream. I want to become a doctor. I want to become this because my uncle or my cousin Rafa, look what he did. So it is possible. You know, I hate when when I graduated, my mom told me like, you ready to start working? And I remember I was like, no, I'm not going to.
Right.
I hated it because I was just like, I want to do something more with my life. I hated seeing my uncles do what they did. I just never wanted to be that. And also like back to what we first talked about, not having a dad, I didn't have that role model to look up to. But I looked up to a lot of the dudes I'd see on TV, like wrestlers, superheroes, and I feel like that's what also opened up my imagination in my head to always have like a creative outlook in life and want to do shit. Like I never looked at something and went, "That's not possible." I always looked at it and said, "It's possible." You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that everyone should have in their mindset and not put a roof over your imagination, because if you do, then you won't go out. You know, break that fucking roof, go see what the world is about, and I think 100% the world is in your hands. You can do whatever you want if you just commit to it and make it happen.
All right, got 2 more questions pretty much. So, how did your family feel about you training to become a wrestler? Because you know your friend told you, and he's the only one that knew, pretty much. How did your family feel about that, pretty much, of you starting? You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people, families, they don't agree with that pretty much, because you know wrestling is not, when you first start, you know what I'm saying, you're not getting paid to be a wrestler pretty much. You're paying to become a wrestler pretty much. You're paying money, you know what I'm saying? Some people can't support that, you know what I'm saying? If you're not bringing money in, things of that nature. How did your family feel about that pretty much?
Dude, I remember at first I was so proud. I was like, Mom, I started training to be a wrestler. I'm gonna become a wrestler. And she legit just kind of gave me like a, okay. That's cool. And I remember my sister was always trying to be supportive and was like, don't say that. Be happy. Good job, Rafa. And I was just kind of like, I can tell they don't understand it.
Right.
But it's funny because the more I started to do it, and the moment my mom went to go see me live, that mentality changed. It went from, oh, you're going to start a new... Because my mom's... Okay, also, like, my mom's seen me grow up my whole life, change constant hobbies. Like, I was always pursuing something different. So I think my mom was just kind of like, God damn it, Rafa, like another one, you know? So, like... She legit was just like, yeah, I remember she didn't even want to go to my first show, man, because she was like, I don't want to be in a crowd. And then she went, and now she's like my biggest fan. And it went from like, yeah, I don't know if you should do this, to her chanting my name constantly, being my biggest supporter. But at first they were kind of like, eh. And when I told them like how much I get paid, they're like, eh. And now they're kind of like, I love you and I believe in you and I know you're gonna become something great in life. And that's how it is now. So yeah.
I believe too, bro. I believe you're gonna be someone big.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Me personally, based off what I've seen, I've already told you this behind the camera. I feel like one day you're gonna be, you know, depending on what company you want to be in. I feel like wherever company you're gonna be in, you're gonna be big, bro. Pretty much.
I appreciate that a lot, man. It means a lot to me.
Pretty much. And that's not me dick riding or nothing. I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot, man.
So I forgot. I had another question for you.
You can keep asking me. Actually, I feel like usually interviews don't ask me like deep questions. This is the first time I've ever like spilled like shit like this. Which I've always wanted to do that. People would ask me like, "What do you prefer, Raw or SmackDown?" I'm like, I kind of want to talk about like life, because I feel like certain people can relate to shit like this.
All right, I have a question about like, say like your childhood popularity stats. You know, even though that don't fucking matter in life, how would you view like how you were in high school? Were you like a jock? Were you like a cool kid?
Yeah.
Like everybody, like, you know, when you come in the room, yeah, Rafa, you know what I'm saying? You do that in the wrestling school, you know what I'm saying? Everybody loves you here, pretty much. But how you think, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. In middle school, I was kind of like I was a little popular kid. Once started hanging out with the skater kids, and then I became a skateboarder. I've done that with so many sports, man. It's crazy if I did list them all. And then when I stopped hanging around with the cool kids, I kind of hung out with my cousin who was kind of like a nerd. Not really, but I feel like he was one of the coolest kids ever, but like to the outside, they were like, oh, those nerds. But like, they're probably the best friends I've ever met.
Right.
When I entered high school, I had my own little clique. This was my friends who were like the outcasts. I always felt like an outcast myself. That's why I have like black sheep tattooed on the side of my leg and shit. I dressed up differently from everyone. I listened to different type of music. So I wasn't outcast, but everyone knew who I was. Like everyone was like, all right, Rafael Martinez, that's my real name. But like people would be like, oh yeah, that's that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? So like they knew who I was because when I was in high school, I did boxing.
Come on, you got him. Movement. Nice, that's it. There you go. Good job. Yeah.
So no one would really fuck with me because they were like scared of me, even though they'd probably beat my ass. But like, I would always do cool shit though. I was a BMX rider, a BMX rider, a boxer, a skateboarder, and like everyone followed me on social media, so like they all saw what I would do, and they're like, "This motherfucker's crazy as hell." You know what I'm saying? Like I was that quiet kid, but they knew like this motherfucker cool as hell.
Right.
And I would talk to like the jocks, I would talk to the popular kids, the nerds, the losers, the theater kids, because I was a theater kid myself. So I talked to all of them. And being here, I feel like at first I wasn't as popular in wrestling school, but I think everyone would see how I caught on to stuff real quick, and they were like, oh shit, and they would kind of treat me a little different. And now that I'm like, I've been 2 years in this, I feel like I just act myself now, and like everyone just treats me the way they treat me, you know. But I kind of just look at it at the end of the day, it's just like I'm a nobody at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I gotta pay bills, I gotta work a job. Outside of wrestling, I'm just Rafael Martinez. I work at this one job that I'm okay with. Pay a bill, live in an apartment, that's it, man. There's nothing really different about me. I feel like people who grow an ego or a head or a big head is because like they become But I feel like the moment people become this like they get this ego and this big head is because like they start to live that persona and they start to live that life and they forget about who they truly are in real life. And I've never really forgotten who I am because I know who I am. And like my whole coming up, I obviously got into this very fast and started getting a lot of opportunities. I'm very thankful for them. People would always tell me like, don't get an ego, don't get a big head, you know. And when they would tell me that, in my heart, I was like, why would I get that? Like, that's just not who I am. And I've always been very humble because I'm not gonna say I come from nothing, but I come from nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a kid like me was never supposed to do the shit I do now. So, like, to me, man, I'm just thankful. And I look back at where we're at and look at where we're starting because we always gotta be humble because this shit can be taken away. And I'm thankful that what I'm doing. I got chosen for this life, so I'm thankful that I got chosen for that. So, like, yeah, man, you just gotta remember who you truly are.
All right. So second, damn, I got hella questions.
Go ahead, man. I really like it. This is probably my favorite intro.
So what's your my bad.
No, you're good, bro.
What was your first tattoo?
Oh man, my first tattoo is actually a stick and poke I have right like close to my like private area. This is my initials. This is RMA because I have two last names. But my first professional tattoo was this yin yang I got on my finger, on my arm, on my hand. Sorry. I got it there because I wanted to hide it from my mom, and I was underage. So like, oh, this is Jack. Yeah, this is Jack Davis.
So what's up to the
What's up, y'all? This is JC's, by the way.
Okay. All right, bro.
But yeah, I got this hand tattoo because I wanted to hide it from my mom because I was 16, I was underage, and she told me like if you get a tattoo, I'm gonna whoop your ass. And I got it still, and
she whooped your ass?
Nah, man, I hit it for a minute. It was like 2 years I hit it,
Right.
And then she found out because she wasn't stupid, and she was just like, "What the hell is that?" And then she was just like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Right.
And then I was kind of like, Mom, I don't drink or smoke.
Right.
You could I got a tattoo, that's not that bad. And she was kind of like, you're kind of right, you know? And she kind of just got to let it go. She just told me after that, like, don't get tattoos on your face or your neck. And just wait till you're 18, that's all I asked for. And right until then, got 18, I got like a bunch of tattoos. And ever since then, I'm dead there. I haven't really got tatted more, though. I kind of wish I would. I'm just very lazy with it now. But I used to go crazy with that shit.
Okay. So, wrestling-wise, if you had to compare your wrestling style or who you were going for, were you trying to be the next Rafael Quintero, or did you basically, what did you emulate when you get in the ring? Pretty much, like, what style did you watch and you're like, yeah, I want to get a little bit of that, boom, get a little of that, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I always like that high flyer, crazy stuff like Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio.
This is from the middle, turn back up.
I'm very athletic too, so I feel like I can do a lot of that stuff. But just like everyone else, we copy from like our idols. But Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, that high flying like lucha stuff, crazy extreme stuff, but also that hard hitting stuff like Kota Ibushi. And yeah, people like that, man, because like I've always been very athletic. I've done a lot of sports, like hard hitting sports. Like I used to be a boxer. I was undefeated in it too. I did football, I did soccer, so I did a little bit of everything, and amateur wrestling as well. So like, got a background in a lot of shit. And yeah, man, I guess Quintero is just someone who wants to better himself every time he gets in the ring. Just try the new stuff, perfect it, be crispy, and just perfect his craft and be better than the next time, the past time. So that's who I'd say I'm like. I just want to be better at with myself. You know, at the end of the day, your competition is the man you look at, the man that's looking back at you when you look in the mirror, and that's always gonna be you. So that's who my inspiration is, myself, because I want to be the next Quintero. I don't want to be the next someone. I want to be the first Quintero. But yeah.
Okay. So we ran out of time pretty much. So I'm gonna ask you the final question, and we could do another interview.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Down the road. So this the question I feel like I want to ask. Your dream opponent, pretty much. The most famous person you wrestled, because I know you wrestled a lot of people. I seen you seen a lot of your matches. The worst person, like not like worst person, because that's rude to say.
Yeah.
The worst match you feel like you wrestled that you feel like, and pretty much damn, say dream opponent. Worst. Shit. Damn. Yeah, just do them three. I was gonna do four. Yeah.
My dream opponent has always been Bandito. I'm a big fan of him. I'm a big mark for him. I love everything he does. He's fucking awesome. I would say Jeff Hardy or like Ray, but I feel like they're getting older, and I feel like I'd have to be signed to do those type of matches. But I say Bandito. I'd love to have a match with him. I feel like it'd be insane. My biggest thing I've ever wrestled, I would say the Lucha House Party. I wrestled Lean Sidorado, Kalisto, and what's it called? Grand Metalik, all in one ring. And I think I look back at that photo and I'm like, oh, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking cool. That's probably one of my favorite moments. Other than that, my worst match, I'm not gonna drop the person, but that match was like bad because of me, and we were just us. I think we just didn't mix good in the ring. And I also was dealing with like a breakup at that time. And when I had a breakup, I really didn't give myself time to heal or just kind of, I guess, enjoy my sadness and be sad at home. I was just kind of like, nope, we got to keep training. We got to keep working out. I got broken up with in like 2 minutes, like 30 minutes later, I came to practice. So, I mean, like, I kind of just kept going to the schedule I had, man. Keep training, keep working out, keep going to wrestling. At that moment, I was getting booked a lot, and that was the first show after that breakup, which it was like, it happened on a Tuesday, the show's on a Friday. I wasn't in the mood to wrestle. I didn't really want to wrestle, and I think that's kind of what affected the match. And I've actually had a good match with this person before, so I don't blame him. I think it was just like I wasn't there, man, and it's my fault. But at the end of the day, looking back at it, though, it's actually a normal match. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. It was just me personally, in my opinion, it's like a match where I'm like, fuck, man, I was just having such a shitty day, and my mindset wasn't there. And yeah, to anyone out there, man, take your time and yeah, man, dwell on your pain, man. Enjoy. When shit happens, man, check yourself first, because you gotta make sure you're all right too, man. I was ignoring that, and I was like, let's go to work, man. And Loki did mess me up a little bit, but other than that, we're still going on.
Okay. Now I remember the fourth question I wanted to ask. What was your favorite match, pretty much?
Oh, man, my favorite match is always going to be the second match I had with my trainer, Steve Boz. That match was just very fun to me because I got to wrestle my trainer for the second time, and I wrestled him before, but I was pretty new still. I was under a year, and now it was almost at 2 years. And just wrestling him was so easy, and it was just so fun half the time because all my friends were in the crowd just cheering like stupid shit that we messed around with at practice. And wrestling my trainer and having him do like crazy shit that, like, my trainer's 50 years old and he was pulling out like Canadian destroyers and shit. And it was just fun as fuck. Like, I'll wrestle that day any day, man. I'll wrestle that guy any day. It was just a very fun match, and not everyone gets to say they wrestle their trainer because sometimes the trainer's already old and they don't want to do that shit no more. So, like, I'm very thankful I got to wrestle my trainer, and I'd love to do it again, man. That's always an easy and fun match with him. So, yeah, shout out Steve Boz.
All right, one more question, because I know I said That was the last one. One more question. So, Steve Boz, your trainer, my trainer, pretty much. What's your thoughts on him?
Oh, I love Boz, man. He's a character. I think sometimes he says the most wildest shit ever, but he's a great guy and he cares a lot for his students. I think he's way too nice to his students, but I wouldn't be the wrestler I am and where I am and a lot of opportunities I've gotten is a shout out to him. So, like, Boz does a lot for his students and he cares for his students. And I think, yeah, man, he's good people. Shout out Boz, man. Always and forever.
Shout out Boz.
Shout out.
Shout out Boz. All right, brother. We out of time. You know, I think they're ready to kick our ass out. So we just end that on that note. We might have a second interview coming this way, pretty much. But yeah, bro.
Thank you, brother. I enjoyed this a lot, man. Thank you, guys.
I don't know how to end it. How you want to end it? I don't know how to end it.
Comment, like, and subscribe, guys.
All right, brother. All right, y'all.